family? How is everybody doing? Y'all watching the debate? Y'all let me know what's going on. I was watching too. I didn't see too much to have me too enthused about anything. So I said, well, I'm gonna get this up. Come on, do the show. You know how we do. Get your libations on deck. We're gonna talk about a little something. We're gonna talk about a little Obama, how many Obama variations they gonna try, and at the end we're gonna talk about something else. The agents of chaos just keep on going. We try not to give them too much energy because they thrive on light, but you have to address it. So we're gonna get to that at the end. But before we do all that, family, please go to donatebrown.com if you want to donate. But before you do anything, please hit that like button. Just hit that like button. Also, hit that bell. If you have not hit the bell, please hit that bell so that you get notifications. I'm assuming most of you all are here. You get notifications, but if by chance you don't, please go ahead and hit that bell for me. Now, subscribe. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button if you have not done that. You go to patreon.com/ycarnell. If you want, God, I hate these shirts with the tags. You forget to pull the tag out. Anyway, so please do that. Subscribe to brown.com. Subscribe to Brown. That's TOBrown.com as well. And add your name to my email list if you have not done that. I am receiving your book recommendations for the next book club and looking over them. So those of you who have sent them, those of you who have not, please go to editor@breakingbrown.com. Or you can DM me however you want to do it. I appreciate it. Great, good. So fam, let's get right down to it, because let's make it not a midnight show if we can. So I wanted to talk about, we always talk about the tie that binds. And when we talk about the tie that binds ADOS, this is the tie that binds us. And those of us who are here, we have seen this chart for a very long time about who has the money, who has the wealth. So it's for us in terms of who. Let me see if I can make that bigger. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Yeah. So let's look at the title: Income Distribution of All Black Households. This was 2010 to 2012. And I want you to just take a look at that, because when you start talking about, some of us got monies, and those who got monies, we want to spend our monies how we want to spend our monies. I want you to look down, and how charts flow. We're not going to explain that tonight, right? About how charts flow and one encompasses and all. We're not going to have to go over the charts 101 for the new people. We'll do that at a different time. But I want you to look at these numbers, and I want you to see how see how as it goes up, you can start like less than 12,500. Look at that. So you see where the bulk of us are. Look at this 12,000. What is this? 12,500 to 37,499. Then 37 to 62. Okay. So you begin to see like where we are with the monies. You begin to see where we are with wealth. You begin to see like, okay, all these people talking about we got money. Like, no, we don't. And so this is what we talk about when we talk about who we are as a group. We're not talking about, so when you be like, some of us got money, and you just got to go get the money with us. You got to go get the bag with us. You all don't understand. Those of you who are saying that don't understand that we've already had the sum and most conversation. We've already had the sum and a lot, and we've kind of defined what that is. And so we know that you don't have it. We know that you're lying about having it, right? We know all of that. So if you keep coming as, well, we got it and I got it, if I want to spend it. We know what it is. So don't come telling us don't come having conversations with us that we've already had. So we've had the sum and most, not all these conversations. We put numbers on those sum and most, and we locked that joint in right there. We locked it in and we clamped it. We're going to frame this, because we're coming back to this, but we're coming back to this in both conversations. We're going to talk about Deval Patrick for a little while, and we're going to talk about Obama and Clarence Thomas and what they have in common. But we're also going to be talking about this silly little controversy. These agents of chaos who come in when you're trying to do work, you're trying to be at the Supreme Court, you're trying to be over here, you're trying to do all this stuff, right? And people who come in and just kind of like throw poo everywhere. So we're going to have a conversation about all of that, but you have to anchor it in that data. You have to understand. If you don't understand the data, then you're going to get confused, and anybody can tell you anything. Well, I guess he's right. Some of us got the monies, and you just might not do, and I don't know. No. So let's anchor ourselves here. Now let's move on for 1 second, and we will come back to everything that I have just talked about. But let's go somewhere else really, really quick. I don't know, for those of you all who were watching the news or have been watching the news, you know that Deval Patrick makes a late entry into the 2020 presidential race. And I call him Obama 4.0. Because I feel like in this race, you already had Obama, right? And then we had him, the remix and all of that. Then you had Kamala, who tried to ski-wee her way into the nomination and ran into, she thought she was hopping on grass and ran into pavement. She was not ready for ADOS and not ready to be able to just run on, I'm ADOS just like you, and don't worry about that other stuff I got in my background. No, we did that with Obama, so we got you out of here. Cory Booker, you wanted to talk about you could be the first American descendant of slavery, but you didn't really talk about what that means, and you were kind of Obama 2 or 3.0. I don't know which 0.0 we had, but you got out of here. So now it looks as if to me that the Democratic Party is scrambling, so we got to go get Obama 4.0. Well, then the other ones didn't work. Cory didn't have it, and Kamala, she fell apart at the seams, and she might be out by New Hampshire. All of you. So let's go get as close to Obama as we can. Let's go get his friend, somebody who has Axelrod. Y'all remember Axelrod was the messaging wizard and all of that stuff, and he's had him. He was Massachusetts governor. He did all that. Let's go get Deval Patrick, who initially said he wasn't going to run, told all his people that go work for other people, and he's coming back. That lets me know, makes me believe that the Democratic Party is scrambling. They can't find nobody. It's like a hot potato. Hot potato, 1 potato, 2 potato. Y'all play that in school? 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4? Hot potato. So you have this, and he came out and said something today. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Here is the tweet. Now, we've been talking about reparations. ADOS made reparations, which has never been like on the platform of the Democratic Party, where you've had to answer as a Democrat how you feel about reparations. Even Trump has had to answer, how do you feel about ADOS did that, right? So you see him come out, you see Deval come out, and he says, when asked about reparations, you have to understand he'd had to think about this. This is not something that you just come to. He says, in South Carolina, and she says, this is the reporter. In South Carolina, Deval Patrick asked if he'd sign H.R. 40 bill that would establish a commission to examine reparations proposal. I don't think so, Patrick says. First of all, I think reparations are right, but I don't think they mean a thing without reconciliation. They don't mean a thing without reconciliation. Now let's go a little bit deeper, shall we? Let's go to the Bloomberg article and just read it kind of quote by quote. Let's see if we can get a fix on what Mr. Deval Patrick is trying to communicate to us. I will play the game of Negro Whisperer for you at the moment. Yes, we need to deal with the chronic poverty and marginalization that has been true of an overwhelming number of our people that has its roots in slavery, Patrick said. But once the check is written, unless we have reconciliation, unless we have some truth telling about what actually happened, I'm just not sure we're going to feel satisfied. I'm just not sure we're going to feel satisfied. Now, family, understand one thing. Satisfaction is what I get after I eat a Snickers bar. I am not looking to reparations to feel satisfied. That is not what this is about. The debt is the debt. What is owed is what is owed. And I think what happens in terms of how people miss this and why they miss this is very specific. Because I think what they miss when they understand, they say the same thing. You have to understand what Obama said. Let me get to what Obama said, because the tie that binds is that everybody, the tie that binds us as a bottom caste is slavery, American slavery, and a cruel disadvantage. The tie that binds black politicians, and I don't care whether you're talking about Obama, Deval Patrick, or whether you're talking about Clarence Thomas, the tie that binds them is this kind of pessimism in terms of what is possible in America and through American politics. And what I will say to you, if that's the way you feel, okay, but you don't get to be Deval and tell me about how you from the South Side and you never forgot where you came from and you grew up on the floor and all this kind of stuff. And you were poor, and there was some kind of story you had about a bunk bed, and there was 3 people, you, your mama, your sister, the bunk bed, and y'all would rotate. So every 3 days somebody would be on the floor. That's how you rotated your bunk beds. You don't get to tell me this story about the cost of blackness without doing something or having some kind of fundamental plan to fix it. And fixing class isn't fixing blackness. But here's the key. Deval is not alone. So you have to look at what you care most about. What we should care most about is closing the racial wealth gap. That's how you know that, okay, this cost of blackness, it may not be over all the way, but like we've really done some fundamental work in America. And you don't do that without reparations. But let me just see if I can find this quick. Do you all remember the Ta-Nehisi Coates piece? I'm gonna get to that in a second where he interviewed Obama. But first, let's just listen to Mr. Patrick a little bit more. Hold on one second. He said some things about Biden too. We'll just get into that for 1 second. I respect Vice President Biden. He has a huge name recognition, Patrick said. I think it is also true that black communities in South Carolina and elsewhere and in other communities feel in other communities, people don't feel seen and heard at all in elections. Understand something. I want you to pay close attention. Don't feel seen and heard. This is emotive. This is emotional language. We're talking about justice in the forms of reparations, and he's talking about emotional language, how we feel. Be careful when people start talking to you about feelings when you should be talking about wealth and inheritance. Let me go into the New Yorker now, switching up, but it's still Deval. Here's what he talks about. He talks about his life, though. Patrick grew up on the south side of Chicago in his grandparents' 2-bedroom tenement apartment with his mother, his sister, his grandparents, and various other relatives who came and went, he said. Oh, here's the part I was talking about. He went on, I shared a bedroom and a set of bunk beds with my mother and my sister, so you go from the top bunk to the bottom bunk to the floor, and every third night on the floor. I went to big, broken, overcrowded, under-resourced public schools. I can't remember actually having a book of my very own. I love to read, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about. Listen, so one of the problems that you have here, is that you don't get to wrap yourself in there. And that is your story. You get to tell your story, but you don't get to wrap yourself in that story, in that life, unless you're going to do the necessary work to ensure that other ADOS don't have to live that life. And that is the work of reparations. That's not the work. Class can't fix race. That's what Obama said. That class can fix race. We're going to fix race with class. That doesn't work. That can never work. Anybody who tells you we're going to fix we're going to fix race with class is lying. We can never fix race with class. There were race-specific policies and abdications by the government that put us here, and there will be race-specific things that will get us out of here. That's just how it works. It's basic. It ain't complicated. And these people are not stupid, Mr. Bain Capital. You work for Mitt Romney's company, then you're not slow. And when they talk to you about money and profits, you didn't say, well, it's about feelings, and we have to make sure people don't feel a certain way. You knew what you had to do with the money. You knew what? But all of a sudden, when you get over here, you want to talk about feelings. It's the same thing Obama did, though. So let me see if I can find it right here. Let me see if I can find it. This was Obama's article with Coates. Better is good on reparations, civil rights, and the art of the possible. Yeah, I never would trust a man who talks about he gonna lead from behind That's like saying I'm gonna grab the tail of a dog. Child, for what for? Why don't you grab him by the collar and pull him and teach him and train him? I lead from behind. No, you don't, Obama. You don't lead nowhere. But anyway, I digress. So I want you to pay attention to what we just heard from Deval. And I want you to think about that in the context of what we heard from Obama. And tell me if it's not the same thing. Tell me if these two people aren't describing a sort of pessimism or a sort of throwaway group, which is ADOS, that they've kind of just thrown up their hands. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. And even though we're going to run and get their vote, we don't care. So just, there's a few quotes in here. It's like 3, but not many. So just hear it out. Here's Obama. Well, I thought, when he said he was being optimistic, I thought I was, but I'm not so optimistic as to think that you would ever be able to garner a majority of American Congress that would make those kinds of investments above and beyond the kinds of investments that could be made in a progressive program for lifting up all people. So to restate, I have much more confidence in my ability, or any president or any leader's ability, to mobilize the American people around a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment to help every child in poverty in this country that I am in being able to mobilize the country around providing a benefit specific to African Americans as a consequence of slavery and Jim Crow. You know, honestly, when I think about it, I don't know how we weren't done with Obama after that interview. Because he's done specific things. And, you know, one of the things that you have to, as we go forward, one of the things that you have to do, and one of the ways that you have to hold politicians accountable, is that you have to hold them accountable for influencing people. See, your job is just not to arrive in the White House or arrive on Capitol Hill and just say, let me put my finger up in the air and let's see what's possible. I am a weather vane. Let me see which way the wind is blowing and I will tell my people what's possible, and that's what we will do. No, your job is to be influential. If you are not an influential person, if you cannot influence hearts and minds, if you cannot talk to people and get them to come around to where you are, if you cannot negotiate and say, okay, I get you that and you get me this, it's horse trading, after all, a lot of the times. If you cannot do that, then maybe you are in the wrong place, Obama. See, if you were in Obama, and I said this a long time ago, I think I told this to Politico years ago. I said, if you're looking for someone to be an advocate for you, Obama's not your person. If you're looking for an umpire, Obama's your man. But he has that in common with Deval Patrick, who said, well, I think black people, or we just feel a certain way, or whatever. I think, you know, I think we have to have reconciliation, whatever that means. Justice is justice, but you think we have to reconcile. No, we reconcile. This is how you heal America. You close that racial wealth gap. You normalize ADOS. You erase the cost that we bear from slavery and accrued disadvantage. That's how you do it, Deval. I think you know that, though. I think you're being dishonest. So let me just read to you another quote from Obama. But I feel pretty confident in that assessment politically, what he's talking about, his middle of the road, blah, 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 blah stuff. And you know, I think that part of my optimism comes from the belief that we as a people could actually, regardless of all the disadvantage of the past, regardless of the fact that a lot of other folks got a head start in the race, if we were able to make the race fair right now, well, don't we know that that's not possible? I mean, those of us who have been paying attention. Remember this article? Let me make it a little bit bigger. White college graduates are doing great with their parents' money. Remember that article? You remember that? That article, that's important for one reason. Obama's saying if we could just start from right now and be fair. Yeah, but that's not how economies work. The wealth and the poverty are still in the system. The wealth is still in the system in our economy. The wealth of slavery and that accrued advantage And the poverty of ADOS and that bottom castness, those are still in the economy. There is no start from now. You either close the racial wealth gap or you don't. Obama either didn't know or he wasn't telling the truth. I don't know which one. Ain't no way for me to know. He says, we were able to make sure that it stayed fair for a long time and that children going forward, he's talking about anti-discrimination law and things like that. And that children going forward were not encumbered by some of that bias of the past. I think it would not take long at all. This is just jibber jabber. Let's put your finger right there. Well, you just talking. I think it would not take long. This is not a fairy tale, sir. I think it would not take long at all because we are talented, resourceful people. See, this is where I want to say something, and I'm gonna come right back to it. Be very wary of people who get your agreement, whether it be your vote or your money for the purchase of an item, by making you feel special. Making you feel like you can do it, you magic. We all special. We got melanin and kinky hair. Like we're magic. We're wonderful people. But anybody who tries to make you feel like what should be done through policy can be done through magic is selling you a bill of goods. Let me say that one more time. Anybody who tries to make you feel like what should be done through policy can be done through magic. I don't care whether it's the magic of we just a resourceful people or the magic of melanin is a superpower or the magic of man. This is manipulation 101. Somebody's either trying to get your vote or pick your wallet, and you get to determine which one. I can't tell you. I can't tell you which one depending on who you're talking to. But somebody either wants you to buy a product or they want to get your vote without doing anything specific for you. One of those two things is happening. So let's just go back through here. Just play this out as a thought experiment. Imagine if you had genuine, high quality early education for childhood, and suddenly every black child in America, but also every white child or Latino child, but just, what is he saying? But just stick with every black child in America. What, bro? Is getting a really good education. Well, you see, the problem with that, the problem with what Obama is saying is a little something called, what Antonio and I have talked about, plugs and outlets. And that's what race is in America. So you can have the plug. I went and I got the education and this stuff worked out for me. Woo, I skipped it. Oh, we about to close these outlets off. So even if you have a degree, we ain't got no jobs and all this stuff. People are making it now through inheritance, and people are giving money to their kids and stuff. So we don't really have nothing for you. Like, you got the plug. We don't have no outlets. Go drive Uber or Lyft. And I don't want anybody to think I'm down at Uber or Lyft. I don't do poverty shaming. That's not what I do. I know that though, if you went and did what you were supposed to do in terms of what Obama said, in terms of getting the degree and all that stuff, you shouldn't be doing that. Oh, but everybody, how many people in Obama's cabinet went and worked for Uber and Lyft? That's how you know this was all a joke. A bad, mean, cruel joke, but a joke all the same. And then here we go to the Deval Patrick part. Now here's where we go where they say the same thing. Remember, we put a pin in it. Remember what we said about Deval Patrick? He was talking about how, emotion and all this stuff, and emotional and blah, blah, blah. Now here's Obama's earlier interviews. See if because they're friends too. See if this isn't the same thing. Sometimes I wonder how much of these debates have to do with the desire, the legitimate desire for that history to be recognized. Because there is a psychic power to the recognition that is not satisfied with the universal program. It's not satisfied by the Affordable Care Act, or an expansion of the Pell Grants, or an expansion of the Earned Income Tax Credit. It doesn't speak to the hurt and the sense of injustice and the self-doubt that arises out of the fact that we're behind now, and it makes us sometimes feel, here we go with feeling again, catch it, sometimes feel as if there must be something wrong with us, unless you're able to see the history and say, it's amazing we got this far given what we went through. Bravo, Obama, for that acting job. Presidents aren't the presidents of other people's feelings, though. Presidents aren't therapists. And none of this is about that. We're on the bottom economically, not because of that. We're on the bottom because of what was done to us in this country by everybody from white mobs to the government. And that has nothing to do with feelings, Obama or Deval. It's all very interesting. And you go to the end of this paragraph. Like we just said, wait, let me start at the top. Let me just do this one more again. So part of, I think, like he just said, he's talking about race-specific programs is less an argument about what is practically achievable and sometimes maybe an argument about we want society to see what happened and internalize it. I understand he's talking to us like children. Nobody would talk to the Jewish community like that. It just wouldn't happen, and for good reason. A debt is a debt. They are saying the same thing. These people are saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing as Clarence Thomas. It's just real slick. Obama and Deval are saying the same thing. They are saying that they have given up on government to do something specific for ADOS. They're saying that everything that happens, we just have to uplift everybody and hope we catch some ADOS in the mix. That's giving up on the power of government to fix what he either did or allowed to happen to us. Slavery was government. That was legal. It was legal to be a slave owner, was it not? Was anybody coming to get black men in convict leasing? These black maids, these female maids who were living with these people, was anybody saying they should be paid a fair wage or stopping them from getting raped by the man? Government allowed all of that. Government said, cool. But now all of a sudden, I don't trust the power of government to do anything. Okay, that's interesting. So I just want to show you how that's the same thing. I'm not going to go over this too deep because we read this before, but that's the same thing Clarence Thomas said. These people are not different. Thomas's rightward drift, which began in the 70s, was inflected by the very ethos that once put him on the left, namely disaffection with black liberalism and the mainstream civil rights movement. In his memoir, Thomas notes that part of the appeal of black nationalism was tied to his sense in the wake of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy that no one is going to take care of me or any other black person in America. Eventually, this notion extended to the left. I marched, I protested, I asked the government to help black people. The whole repertoire of black politics, from mainstream activism to black power, radicalism, and beyond, now seem pointless. But by the 80s, Thomas, a member of the Reagan administration, believed that state action could do nothing for African Americans. Problems of racial inequality cannot be solved by law, even civil rights laws, he told audience at Clark College, historic black college in Atlanta, in the 1980s. Now, I don't agree with any of these people. Because I've seen government holds up entire industries. But how? They're not that different. There is this strain of pessimism about what government can do for ADOS that doesn't exist for any other group. You don't hear any other group. You don't hear Holocaust survivors or Latinos and any other group say, well, they ain't gonna never do nothing for us. They ain't gonna never. It's too much money. It's not as if you said, well, let's start with a certain amount of money. Like, it's amazing to me that no Democratic candidate has folded reparations or some kind of reparations plan into the plan they already had. Y'all throwing the whole bank away on a whole bunch of stuff. But like, this is just, it's really amazing to me. But it's amazing to me that you have people who can say, well, this is too much money. We'll never be able to convince people. We're worried about a white backlash. And how or why should that matter? And even if it matters, why shouldn't you be advocating for it instead of yielding to it? Advocate for what you know is right instead of yielding to it. How many of these politicians, don't y'all get tired of walking around with your back bent? It's sort of amazing how many people do not have any internal fortitude. And who don't understand their roles and responsibilities. And we let them get away with it. Well, we all want to play armchair politics. Well, you're right. They right. You know, it is going to be hard. I don't care. I don't care what not is hard, what not your life is hard. You decided to plant your flag in politics. You decided that you needed our vote, okay? And you do. Democrats, you do. Ain't no other way to do it. So you decided all of that. So let's get with it. Let's get busy. Chop, chop. It just doesn't make, I don't think we understand how little sense this makes. Right? So, you know, it's all very interesting because, you know, a lot of stuff happens that's very interesting. A lot of stuff happened today that's very interesting. We have a lot of people. Remember what I said about picking your pocket? If somebody's trying to convince you to buy a product, to do something that should be done legislatively, through public policy, stuff like that. Remember yesterday I talked to you about agents of chaos and the problems of agents of chaos. We have a lot of problems and pessimism. The pessimism that runs through our politicians that we allow them to engage in and just say, well, I can't really do nothing for you. I'm going to do a class-based stuff, but it's going to get you and it's going to scoop you up. It's going to ride you high. That's one part. But the other part is like, the other part is like, that's politics. The other part is what we allow to happen in this political advocacy space. And what we see as okay in this advocacy space, and who gets to exist in this space. So I don't want to talk. I'm 37 minutes in. I want to get this 10 minutes. So I get up this morning. I don't check my Twitter time. I get up. I do stuff, piddle around, do everything I need to do. Coffee, all that stuff. Sometimes green tea. So I get over there. When I get back to my phone, look at my phone. There's a whole nother, I didn't want to call it an accusation. There's a whole nother waste of time. Like how do you, I don't even understand how everybody expects us to do something when you just have this person that just like, he gets to like waste our time. And don't say, well, Yvette, you got to stop responding to him. Y'all elevated him to this place. Even when he started supporting us, y'all were like, Yvette, you got to let him. Because you can't do people like that. You got to let him be in. Okay, let the man, the comedian, the meek slide, and the documentarian, he do everything he want to do. If he wants to support, if he's turned over a new leaf, fine. But why I keep waking up to stupid stuff? Time I come back to the phone. You can't even have well, they stole it. Let me just show you this stupid stuff. Oh, it's all so stupid. And it's such a waste of time. All these dodo birds. I spoke with Antonio and Yvette and they were mad at me. What? You mean when we came off the stage and you said, name it DOAS. I got one daddy and you ain't it. You don't get to tell me what to do. But here's the thing. You already said that we're not the same. You already said that we're not the same group. You've already gone on record. Twitter family, and for the record, the American Slaves Inc., whatever the hell that is, aka Descendants of American Slaves, fine, has no affiliation or any association with American Descendants of Slavery group. Our vision and mission are different. The end. You're different. You are. And before somebody says, descendants of American slave, descendants of slavery, what is that? Listen. At the conference, there's a reason why I had everybody read this book right before the conference. There's always a method to my madness. Because MLK laid the framework for what we're doing and where do we go from here. This whole project is an answer. I said that at the conference. This whole project is an answer to King. And he was the first one to call us descendants of slaves. You don't own that. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, people. Let me tell you something. Boys, if you're listening, I know you are. You ain't got nothing else to do. Everybody, y'all got a descendants, slaves incorporated, whatever the heck you call yourself. Y'all got to stop letting Tariq put batteries in your back. It ain't going to end well. And let me just show something else. I want to, you know, we have to talk about these things because you have to talk about, you know, we know who we are. We know what our mission is. So let me just show something else. Where'd it go? I just had it up here. Bear with me un momento, please. So the other thing that bothered me, he slick, like, put Antonio's number up there. Like me and Antonio talk. No, you don't. You don't talk. You've had like one call, like a courtesy call. And let me just say, this is why I don't take calls from nobody no more. I used to be like, yeah, I talked to you. I talked to that weirdo Gene who calls all that mess. Whenever you talk to people, they come back and be like, I've had a conversation. One conversation. And then you basically put Antonio's phone number out there. Because let me move that. You can make that out. Like, y'all, you always had a plan. And I know you had a plan because somebody told me that one of the secretaries told me when I was in Louisville recently, you know, those people told me, you know, to have Yvette, have you and Antonio take a picture with their book. And I told them no. And Antonio told him, you know, so I told him, you know, like, no, not they wanted to just like get Yvette and Antonio to hold our book and take a picture. People be having all kind of weird plans in place for what? But here's the question. Like, I want you to look at the date on this, first of all. This is April 2019, right? That's this year. And then you say we stole a name, right? But here you are using the hashtag ADOS. So wait a minute, back then it was fine, but now we stole it. Back then you were using the hashtag. Back then you were using the hashtag, so you were fine then. You were fine piggybacking, but now it's yours. I don't want DOAS. I don't want it. I never wanted it. I told everybody who said Yvette. You know who else said that? Ann Coulter responded to Tariq Nasheed and said, Tariq, I don't even know how y'all know each other. How you know Ann Coulter, Tariq? There's a lot of funny stuff going on. It's funny style. So you didn't contact me and say y'all stole it. You were using it. What was you doing? Let me see if I can find the other parts. A lot of stuff in here that's just so odd. I'm trying to find one thing in particular. You ever try to find one thing in particular and then you be like, I can't find it. But let me just put this up while I'm thinking about it. And I don't even know why you put up that, like, you DM'd me on March 19th. Greetings, Yvette. I read your tweets. Appears you are under attack. What? Does that make it look like we're friends? And you see why I don't respond now to people as much. Be like, Yvette, why don't you respond a lot in your DMs? Because I get this kind of stuff. What is this? What is this? So, but we stole it. Now this is a name, but here's Gerald Higginbotham talking about what it really is. Now let's get down to brass tacks, everybody. FYI, and for the record, I'm not father of DOS or DAS. Dr. Norris Shelton is the father of the American slave movement. I work very closely with Dr. Shelton. However, I'm the newly appointed Prime Minister of the American slave nation. Let me tell you something, fam. I have never, ever, ever, ever advocated, been a part of, supported anything called the what is this? American slave nation. This is not us. Those of you who have been following us know something very specific about what our agenda is. If I can find my tweet. Those of you who have been following us know what ADOS is, and it has not been about a slave nation. We ain't never been about no slave nation. And he's a prime minister of the slave nation. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I wish him all the best, but that is not our mission. We ain't never been on that mission. I'm sorry. I feel bad about it, but I ain't never been on no slave mission. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let me see if I can slow down and find what I'm looking for. I can't ever find what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it. Let me see. It's a lot of stuff he said in here. We are offering citizenship. You can't offer citizenship. You're not a country. Remember when I told y'all a long time ago, we're not a nation within a nation? That's not who we are. We are offering citizenship in American slave nation to bring us out from under this nation that has locked our people in the lowest level of a real life monopoly game. Please begin reading American Little Black Book to begin the healing. That book is the mortar to seal the crack. The hell. Slave nation. How am I stealing? So listen, basically what Nasheed got us arguing about is an acronym. He got us arguing about an acronym. So MLK said descendants of slavery. Antonio and I put an A in front of it to anchor it in Americanness, and we arguing with this man about American Slaves Inc. About a slave nation in a little book. To get the American slaves mental out of the rat race, and implement the new economic engine that will raise up new 21st century leaders and millionaires through our online training platform. Everybody got an online training. 3-phase roll out our success communities model that will create better communities. I don't even know what that said. I'm just going to keep it moving. Somebody said, can I ask you a question? Where were you a week ago? Yeah, you ain't said nothing. They was retweeting us. That's what they were. Working diligently to save American slave culture. Now, when has it ever been part of what we're doing? To save American slave culture. When have you ever heard me talk about that? We talk about the cost of slavery. It's still in the system. And accrued disadvantage and our contribution to this country. We don't talk. I don't know what this is. Reparations is owed to the American slave culture. To make this a reality, it will take a business. Slavery was a business. It was not just personal, but business. Politically, it will be difficult, but you will need 55 white senators to change Constitution. What's your mission? To educate, empower, enlighten America on the plight and promise of descendants of American slaves while creating strategies to identify true emancipation from government dependency. Y'all want to be emancipated from America? We anchored ourselves in Americanness. They created a whole new flag and said they sovereign in their own country. Have we ever talked about that? Your boy Tariq Nasheed been creating chaos all day over this. Oh, I got him now. Tariq Nasheed, I know what this is. Nasheed, we all know what this is. I don't think you understand. Let's talk about it. And I'm finished. This number right here, it hasn't been moving. Now, I hope you get your Mink Slide. I hope you get your Mink Slide tool. I hope you get your Hidden Colors convention. Go knock yourself out at this point. Just leave grown people to do grown people's business. You've been stuck. I don't think a lot of you understand that what's supposed to happen at this level is that the first week you're supposed to get half of the money if you raising. Now you shouldn't even be raising money. You know, it ain't our responsibility. You love the poverty shame, and Yvette lives in a hovel. She lives in a room getting that from Boyce and everybody else. I don't give a damn. But you love to do all of that stuff. But everybody, it's not the responsibility of Black America to pay your $2 million mortgage on your $2 million house. Everybody's kind of fed up with it. I don't know whether you rent or own, and I don't care. I don't get involved in personal business. I don't do personal assassination. But your problem in terms of why you're trying to take us out is the fact that this number ain't moving fast enough for you. Right? That ain't got nothing to do with us. Go do the Mink Slide, man. Go do your Pan-Africanist conference. I don't care anymore. I just want to get back on my math. Stop being a petty little vengeful man. Oh, this ain't moving. This number ain't moving. I gotta call out Yvette and Tone. I gotta get some more receipts. I I ain't never seen somebody poop and fall back in as much as Tariq Nasheed. Poop, fall, poop, fall, poop, fall. You just keep making mistakes and falling back into them. Stop. Go do you. And I'm tired of y'all. Let me tell you, I'm tired of some of y'all. Y'all keep coming here. I don't know why y'all fighting. This is so petty. Y'all just keep fighting. Why y'all fighting? Ain't nobody fighting. Ain't nobody wake up thinking about Tariq. Who? No, woke up to him causing all kind of mischief and boys running around. Yeah, I told you. I already told you. You always know boys need somebody to fight me. He can't ever just fight by himself because he always lose. He always need to hide behind somebody. I told y'all and then duck back in. I told y'all and then duck back in. Throw a rock and then duck back in. This man emasculated you, boys. He called you moist Stotkins. He called you boys clickbait Watkins. You look a fool for supporting somebody who did that to you. And the man just said, oh, player, that's just part of the game. I ain't mean nothing by it, player. That's how I pimp talk to the hoes, boys. Anyways, we're going to go to the phone, fam. I'm not going to keep y'all as long. Because I want to hear what y'all got to say about all of it. It's the tie that binds. Everybody's trying to play the beta switch. Was Deval, was Barack, was it's everybody. Clarence, they all very pessimistic about politics. Then on the other side, you got people that just want to take your monies. Right? I just give me this money for this and so I can live a good life. And you just got to get around people like me. You get around people like me. You know, you don't need that kind of energy over there. You don't need that. You need to be around people who are positive. You understand? You don't need to be around Yvette and Tone. You need to be around people with a positive message. You get me? You dig? So tired of you. Anyway, give me a few minutes to set the phones and I'll be right back, fam. right, family, we are back. Let's go to the calls. Let's go to the calls. Let's go to the calls. Maybe we can make it a shorter night tonight because last night the calls were very concise. So let's make it. Let's get to it and get it in, and maybe we can have people to bed by a decent hour. All right, I'm coming to 424 424. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Well, I always like going first. Hey.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, this is Jason from Los Angeles out here.
Okay, what's up?
I just wanted to just comment on the last couple things, and it always seems odd that those New York Times articles I think set everybody off, and the Democrats they don't know what to do, and I guess everybody forgot we were a political group, even though we've been saying it since 2016. I'm like, I don't know where have y'all been? I don't know, But just on the, I don't really have comments on the first half, but the last little second half with the agents of chaos. It seems odd because that Income Bottom guy came to our meeting and wanted us to sign a treaty, and it's not to harp on him too much, but. It was kind of odd just because he kind of worked the room around, and I guess it seemed that he was trying to kind of go around you guys to talk to us, and I guess he didn't know that we, all the, groups talk to each other, and we're just like, well, why would we do that? And it just seemed really odd, and then I don't know, do you think that these kind of extraneous groups are looking for some kind of golden goose or in Cobra?
Wait. Before I answer your question, what kind of treaty? A treaty between countries? What do you mean a treaty?
A treaty, they consider themselves the slave nation. He was the lawyer for the older gentleman.
Okay.
And I'm like, it was like a treaty. When we got this, I'm like, if you want a treaty, I'm American. We can't be signing no treaties with no person that considers them a sovereign nation. I'm like, you need to take that up with Trump and the State Department if you want. That's kind of how I saw it. But it just seems that do you think these groups want something extraneous?
Well, I think this is what I think, fam. I think, first of all, I think Tariq has put a battery in some people's backs, right? Oh, you deserve this,
right.
But for his own purposes, right? Because he needs this thing to be 200. He needs to hit
right.
200,000 soon. But I think the other thing that's happened is this, whether it be in Cobra or NARC or whatever, a lot of people this group, a lot of people just saw these groups as something they were trying to do, and they were getting some kind of funding. I'm hearing a lot of these people getting funding from different groups, not as much as they wanted to, but getting funding.
Right.
Now I think what people are looking at is they're seeing this and they're saying ADOS is a cash cow. And I think they're wondering, why aren't Yvette and Antonio making it into a cash cow? Do they know how much money is in this? Why they not getting the monies? So I think they decided that, we're going to get the money. If y'all not going to get the money, we're going to get the money. We see the money. And it's just, for us, we decided that, no, this is about policy, it's about principles, it's about a justice claim. But other people have decided there's a lot of money in this. And if we don't get it, they gon' get it. And even if we were to try to get it, which we wouldn't, because that's not what we're about, they gon' get it. So they see dollar signs. And this has always been about dollar signs for them. That's kind of what we are.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, 100%. But I think just the way we kind of move, where we started with the financial and economic status of black people, where we call out grifters at every level, where it's you can't ask for money, out the gate. That's what kind of seemed odd about, Tariq's thing was well, why are you asking for $200K when you could have easily got a venue and leveraged, a conference next spring to just sell tickets, and then I got the tickets. Now let's go get some people to come and talk. I could easily do that, next week. It's these guys don't care if you sell the tickets first and then refund everybody if it don't work out right.
Well, that's a question a lot of people ask. Why didn't you sell tickets and use the money from the tickets to fund the conference? Or everybody said, a lot of people said, well, Yvette and Tone, they had Dr. Cosby, right, of Simmons College, St. Stephen's. Right. So they didn't need as much. And what I will say to people is that what we're doing in terms of political redress for ADOS That requires community. That's why Dr. Cosby with us and we're with him. That requires community and building community. If you're really about
Right.
community, then you should. If you're gonna have it in Atlanta, we got a lot of mega churches in Atlanta. You should build community where you can with these people and see if you can replicate what we did. If you're about community, now if you're just about getting
Right.
paid, you don't care about that. You just want to get in, get your money, and get out.
Get in, get your money. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'll let you go and end the call. Have a good night.
All right, appreciate it, fam.
All right. Bye.
Bye. I am going, hold on a second, going to my next caller. I am going to, who am I going to next? Let me see. I just be randomly picking numbers. I'm going to 202. 202, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, this is Nikki. I just got a statement.
Okay.
I don't need any feedback, but I've been kind of watching this thing from the background, and I heard a couple of roundabout communications about Byron's 4Ds. I think everybody's familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of came up with, this is my assessment of everything. I'm going to come up with the 4 W's.
Okay.
And here are the 4 W's, and I'm going to hang up, and you can talk about it, and people can comment on it. 4 W's and an H. First W, what? All of the people that are listening, I know many are. First question is what? What are your plans to push reparations in the reparations movement? The second W is where? Where were you for the past 30 to 40 years, and how have you moved this movement? The operative word is movement. Something has to move.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the where. That's the second W. The third W is why. Why do you continue to try to slander a productive movement based on emotion? I see no fact-based argument in anything that I see on Twitter and anywhere. The third W is when. When are you going to stop using the elders as cover and smoke for your ill motives? First, you're for Yvette, and now you're against it. You make no sense. Get 10 toes down, get in, take a position. Can't tell me one day somebody's a godsend, and the very next week, she's the devil. Okay? The first one is the how, the last one. That's the 4 H's. You're talking about 4 H's and a W. Byron Allen said we need to deal with 4 D's. We need to deal with 4 W's and an H. I went through the 4 W's, and here's the H. The H is, how can you plan for any type of reparations without the use of politics? That's just insane. There's nothing that can happen in this country unless it's moved by policy and politics. Everything that the elders have taught us is that we must move our initiative through politics. For them to use or to begin or try to use or finesse, as some people say, like politics is the boogeyman. Politics is not the boogeyman. Politics is how you get it going. That's how it happens. If it's not on paper, if it's not a part of policy, and it's not put up in law, L-A-W, not talk, not emotion. And we're not looking for culture conferences. We're not looking for feel-good time, feel-good conferences. We done felt good. Stick to your history. People need to be taught history, and that's okay. You got a lane for that. But stick to that. But we're not looking for a feel-good conference. We got too much work to do. Reparations is real. It's a legal matter. There's legal ramifications around it, and it will never happen without politics. So let everybody know that if you don't engage in the policy and politicking of reparations, there will be none. So don't let anybody, nobody, tell you that politics is the boogeyman. And if you look at any of our elders, they push that. And they pushed us to be black first. They are not the boogeyman. Anything and everything that I see you saying and doing, I've read the book. You're doing exactly what they say to do. Agents of Chaos doing?
Mm.
They read the same book. You have a different ulterior motive. We all grown folks here. Nobody's going to tell me who to vote for. I've been voting since I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We're not stupid.
Nope.
We can see clear through this. And that is my position. Although there's some contradiction, but at the end of the day, I don't care who the fuck is in the race. I care who
Language.
Who crosses the line?
Language.
Who crosses? No, they need to hear it. Who crosses the line? And we ain't talking about all this dust and smoke. Don't bring up no old bones about no elders. Don't hide behind the elders. Don't do that. The message is the same. I don't look at the messenger. I look at the message. And nobody can deny that message is in line with the elders. So stop playing that elder game.
Well, thank you,
So
fam.
that's my 4 W's.
No, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for putting that out there. And let me say this. It's a lot of hiding behind the elders. Like you had Tariq hiding behind the DOS people. You have Boys Forever hiding behind Dr. Claude Anderson. You have a lot of people hiding behind. I'm just supporting the elders. No, you hiding. Come out your hiding place. Can you stand on your own square? And we don't do this Bitcoin stuff either. What they were doing. What is this? Speaking of stuff. Yes and no Bitcoin. Maybe American slave culture would have gotten in at 1 cent a coin today. Now let me ask you this. You've seen ADOS talk about ADOS in Vox. You've seen them talk about us in the Washington Post. Seen them talk about us in the New York Times. Do you think if we were talking about becoming a nation and building a slave culture off of Bitcoin or whatever kind of coin they want to use, do you think that ADOS would have gotten any attention? Or they would just be like, these people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? I'm just asking a question. It's all up on their Twitter page. You can go look at it. You can go look at it for me. You don't got to trust what I say. I'm going now to 919. 919, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, I'm Bruce. I'm from North Carolina.
Hey, Bruce, what's going on?
Hey, I was thinking about the term ADOS versus like other terms.
Yep.
I actually agree heavily with the term ADOS for the simple fact, like, what if you're a descendant of American slaves, but you're in Liberia, you're in Canada? Like, you always root ADOS in being an American and being like, and having that rootedness in being an American citizen. So I'm not sure, like, we should be exploring, like, other terms, because a lot of times other people consider, like a lot of black people consider white people to be the epitome of, like, what it means to be an American, and we are Americans. So could you speak on that?
Well, here's the thing. That's what I told people a long time ago. Like, there were a lot of different terms. When we said ADOS, there were a lot of different terms that people said, no, we got to be this. No, we got to be that. Descendants of American slaves. And it was just like, well, there might be a lot of other descendants, people in the people in the Americas, which is not necessarily America. It's the Americas might consider themselves or whatever. And having American first was like essential to putting American ahead of what King said. King said descendants of slaves. Now put American descendants of slaves, because there are a lot of descendants of slaves. So let's anchor everything, because you have to anchor everything. At least that's what Antonio and I, part of what we were thinking about. You have to anchor everything as being, the richest country in the world, American. We have to own our Americanness. And it's funny, Tariq got this whole Indiegogo thing with all these American flags, whatever. I was the first one to do that. And I was, to put it out there to say we're American. I took hell for it. Nobody stood up for me at that time. But part of the reason we put American first was you got to anchor yourself in what King said. King said we're American and we're descendants of slaves. So to me, that's ADOS. He said that in the book. That's why we read the book in the lead up to the conference.
Exactly.
We're American and we're descendants of slaves. So you have to put American first, though, because that's the most essential thing. We built the richest country in the world and we're a bottom caste. That's essential to what we're doing. That has to be first. And that's why it was set up that way. But they got us out here fighting over an acronym. Like, I don't even understand what we're doing. And y'all can't see this man, this hangman who goes around all the time like, we got to get on code, family. You see, family? We just got to be on code with how we do. The same person who says that is now saying that, like, it's just creating all these hissy fits about something that an acronym, because this group, obviously, I've just shown you, they have nothing to do with us. Like this slave nation culture, that's not anything that we've ever stood for. So the content is very different. Their mission is very different. Everything about them is very different. They co-signed us or whatever and put the hashtag up, but everything about them is very different than who we are and what we are. So he has us. That's why he's an agent of chaos. You got us fighting over a hash. You got us fighting over an acronym. Like what? I don't even understand what you're doing. We created ours for a specific reason. Like, we're American, and we have to own that before we own anything else. And King said the same thing, basically. He said we're American and we're descendants of slaves. The natural offshoot of that is ADOS. And here we are.
Exactly. I completely agree. I think a lot of that's lost on a lot of people. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
No problem. Appreciate it, fam. People just need to understand stuff. I don't know why people don't understand. People need to read. If you all really want to understand, just go read King's book. Go read where do we go from here. Just read. You know, books don't bite. They do not bite. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Books do not bite you. They're not gonna nag at you or whatever. They just whatever. I'm going to 614 right now. 614. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
William from Ohio.
What's going on, Ohio?
Ain't nothing going on. We just do U.S. business down here.
Oh, okay.
And we doing serious business down here. Politics all day, every day. We have to get a judge in that wasn't supposed to get in. So when I left the conference, I took everything that you and Tone was talking about literally. Mm-hmm. I'm a pretty serious person.
Okay.
And this is serious business. And it's all about the group first above everything else. And these guys, as far as I'm concerned, and I couldn't listen to Tariq Nasheed. I listened to him. I had to cut that off. He's embarrassing. He's ignorant. And I would never want him to represent me in anything. If that was the case, I had to cut myself off from that. These guys are jealous of you, envious of you, and they don't really care about the Adolf movement. They care about their own selves. And they're getting in the way. It's buffoonery. It is literally embarrassing. And I'm so proud of you and Tone because y'all haven't said nothing negative about anybody.
Not till you come
It's about the group.
Yep.
It's about the group first. And it's about getting this stuff done. I'm 55 years old. I have 3 kids. I'm trying to leave legacy for them. So we out here doing the work for real. And all this, I just don't know how you can take those guys seriously. I just don't. Because they come for you. Why do you come for that? She's about her business, and they're not. I can't take these guys seriously. So I'm about the business, and I appreciate what you do. I'm going to have you back 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. I don't know. Like everybody just tries to figure out how they can monetize something. And, you know, I guess that's how you know, that's fine. I don't bother you. I don't bother you about your house or whatever. I don't bother you about your $2 million house until you start poverty shaming other people, other black people. Then I have a problem. Because you got that house from black people through all your fundraisers and then selling your DVDs and whatever. You can't make people feel ashamed about. You can't shame people because you have something that they gave you. You cannot shame people because you have something that they sold this to you, and the reason they did it, because people even do the bait and switch, like, well, why don't you talk about these Italian business people the way you talk about me? Why don't you talk about these Asians? Every time a black man want to do business, that's because we expect more from you. You talk about community all the time, so there's an expectation of community. We don't expect the same thing we expect from somebody outside of the community, but that's what you give. It's a lot of slick talk. I think one of the things that we're picking up now as we go through this is just like how we have a lot of us, I'm not talking about ADOS, the people who are in the chat for the most part, but we have succumbed to slick talk in a way that's very detrimental for our politics. You know, I talked about poverty shaming way back when Kanye West was like, don't you see the private jets flying over you? Who says that? I just bought your album. Not me. I ain't bought a doggone thing. But you talking to people who if they listen to that. Anytime I listen to it on YouTube. I can't. Somebody who probably bought something of yours. And so they bought something of yours. And then you turn that around and shame them for like not having a $2 million house or a $2 million rental or $2 million mortgage or whatever. It doesn't make much sense. Anyway, I'm going to the next call. I am going to 214. 214, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, this is Lillian. I'm calling from Louisiana. How are you doing
I'm doing
tonight?
good, Lillian. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm fine. I want to tell you something. Now, I like Dr. Claude Anderson.
Okay.
But every time I turn on Dr. Voice, he's always saying your name. And that turns me off. I don't even know who Tariq is, okay? But I think all this with saying this, we need to stay focused and move forward. Martin Luther King had the same problems. We had all kind of groups popping up. But we all came together for a common goal, like Malcolm said. You got to come together for a common goal. And if they're not down, we got to leave them and keep going forward. That's all we have to do. Just keep going forward. King kept going forward till they took him out.
Yeah.
You know, he never
Absolutely.
stopped. He never stopped. He was down for the people, like you and Tone. You're down for the people. Dr. Claude Anderson, I believe he's down for the people. He mentioned unity. I think he's going to get away from boys. I mean, you know, it's like you listen to him and it's like, I got to throw this dirt. You know, of course you got to defend yourself because they're playing the dozens. You know what I'm saying? But that gets old. And I don't want to lose sight of the focus. That's all I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying.
So we just need to stay focused as a people so we can get this reparations. Byron Allen's got this 1866 thing going. And, I mean, we need to stay focused more on that and less on this backbiting, you know, type of thing. You know, like Dr. Boyce was talking about, I gave Yvette some money. Well, you believed in her.
No. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just correct you. Ain't nobody ever gave me no money. Ain't nobody ever gave me. Boyce ain't never gave me a dime.
Have you heard his tape where he says he gave you money?
Yeah. No. But the only money Boyce ever gave me is what he paid me for work, and that was slave wages. That was less than minimum wage. Like the most I got paid for Boyce in a month for 8-hour a day work was $1,200, which is what? Which is how much a week? That's $300 a week. That's the most I ever got paid from Boyce for 8-hour day work. So Boyce has never given me money. He's never loaned me money. He's never done any of that. He's made up a whole narrative, and I've just let him do that because I know he's not well and he's vengeful. So yeah, so he just says whatever.
I'm glad I heard it from you.
No.
Well, you know what? I'm through with this. I just want to stay focused on Byron Allen's case. I think it's beautiful what he's doing for his people. You know, I love that. To me, that's positive, and it's going in the right direction. And I see ADOS going in that same direction. And I love this. And I love you people out there, all you sisters and brothers. Hey, stand up, or you'll fall for anything. That's what King said. Love you.
Thank you. Love you back. I appreciate you. Fam. I appreciate you. Love you back. Yeah, I think, you know, I don't even understand what's going on to a certain extent. You know, you have on one side of this thing, you have this group right here that's talking about, you know, Higginbotham. FYI, for the record, I'm not a father of DOS, DAS. Dr. Norris Shelton is the father of the American slave movement. I work very closely with him. I'm the newly appointed prime minister of the American slave nation. I don't even understand how that's, I don't know what this is. You know, I don't even know what this is. And then you have Tariq Nasheed doing a $200,000 Indiegogo conference. You know, I don't even know. I don't know. Like, Can somebody help me? Because I don't even know what this is. These are some, this is, I've never been in a moment this wild, where people just do wild things and say wild things and behave very wildly and do, I'm the president, I'm the new prime minister of a slave nation. What is that? But I'll get back to it, fam. Let me go to the next call. I just gobbledygook. 925, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 925? Oh.
Hello?
Hey, 925, what's going on?
Oh, yeah, hi. This is Sable from San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at one of the main motivations for why Tariq Nasheed is going crazy, and it has to do with popularity. Checking the popularity of the hashtag ADOS versus the one that he's losing his mind over, the FBA,
Okay.
shows that ADOS is popularity points are 59.1 versus 36.8.
Okay.
And so that's what I think is really triggering him.
Mm.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, fam. That could be it, but I think that money's triggering him too. He got a big life, big house, big cars, big payments, and you need that Indiegogo money to move. But let me just say this, I can't do no work with these people. Like, see, the thing is, we always like to come back to them and be like, well, Higginbotham, them, they all right. We got to have everybody. We got to be a collective. I can't be a collective with nobody who is an agent of chaos, who just, when they don't get their way, they throw a fit and just create confusion and say nasty things that I hear about later on, you know, and people, Yvette, did you, all this, you're ridiculous. I can't, listen, I need to do, Antonio and I need to do serious work. You do too. And y'all are. You just heard the bro call in. Talk about what he's doing. You've seen all of us. I saw Reggie made the news. Our own Reggie from Boston was made the news. And he was throwing out the data. We've all been doing stuff. I can't play around with this person. Y'all done elevated this person. De-escalate him, please. De-elevate him, please. I can't deal with it. I can't be, you want me to unify. How can I unify with somebody who said they're the prime minister of a slave nation? I can't have no unity there. That sounds real weird to me. You saying that you, how many times have you, those of you who have been with me for a while, know that I've always said there's no such thing as ADOS being a nation within a nation. That's the opposite of what he's saying. I cannot unify with that. Stop telling me to unify with stuff that is not unifiable. I know that's not a word, but I can't. It doesn't work. These are not serious people. Go do your mink slide thing. Leave me alone. Go do your mink slide tour. Boys, go to court. And I hope you got a good attorney. Whatever. You're going to need it, I hear. But go, everybody go do their own thing. Like, go do your little things that you do. We have work to do, though. I can't unify with you. We can't be a collective. I got to be a collective with people who are, what's that word that Rick you say all the time? On code. All of a sudden, when he's not leading it, and he's not in charge of it, he always said, we don't need no leaders. No, that's just a way for you to slip in and be a leader, right? You be leading it by saying, we don't need no leaders. But you want to lead it, right? And so when you're not in a leadership position no more, because you were leading, you were the leader of FBA, and everybody said, hey, I'm going to do that. So now you don't want to do it. Now you want just, why would you want to take us out if you weren't trying to be the HNIC? Go do your mink slide conference. Knock yourself out. Figure everything out that you need to figure out. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So I'm going to my next call. I am going to 973. 973, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Yvette? What's up?
What's up?
This is Najee from the Bobby Jerry.
Hey.
You know what? For a couple of weeks, I had to just basically sit back and shout out to Dana with the data. I was talking to her through an email, and she basically told me because I'm a listener of both groups. I mean both you and Tariq. So as I just basically took time to sit back and not choose sides, and I just seen the mess that was going on in Twitter. And then I had to basically ask myself this question. I said, okay, if what Tariq is saying, if it's plagiarism, if this wasn't an original idea, is what Tone and Yvette doing constructive or non-constructive? That's how I rationalize it. And everything that you guys have been doing from from the beginning of Kamala Harris throwing her hat in the ring has been nothing but constructive. I don't know if anybody's into astrology, but I don't know what it is about 2019. But 2019 can be coined as the year of the agents of chaos, because everybody is basically revealing who they are, from Barack Obama to the economic boot camp people. You know, at the end of the day, the whole thing was about. I thought ADOS was lineage, and it turns out that it was a group. I don't really see anything wrong with that. Out of the conference, you guys didn't just basically sit there and have 2 days of conference for just basically people to sit, listen to your show, and get ready for the next conference. You energize people to basically leave that conference, go into their cities, and activate themselves. Whereas we have other situations where we go to these conferences, we do these million-man marches, and people just basically leave feeling good, and they go right back into their slump. So that's why I ask myself, is it constructive or non-constructive?
And that's what and fam, that's what Project Takeover was about. Like, you know, people go into conferences, and I wish Tariq the best of luck at this point. Just leave, just go. But what you want, Project Takeover was a call to take back our institutions. Like, what people are describing in terms of what they want for a conference, when I hear Tariq talk, is like, you want to have a networking event. But that's not what ADOS was ever about. ADOS was never about a networking event. It was always about doing politics to get justice for ADOS. It was never about doing an event so we can just get it popping. Like, that's not what we're about. That's never been what we're about. That's not the mission. Our mission is a very specific mission. And if you didn't know that you had to use politics to get justice for ADOS, then I don't know where you've been. I don't know. So let me let you finish up, fam.
I mean, there's no activism. There's no way to basically get to the end game, which is reparations and transformative government, by just basically sitting down, tuning in for the next show. You know, and then when we talk about plagiarism and basically people using other people's ideas, everything that's in Brother's language is from Millie Fuller and Francis Cress Welsing. Truth be told, the whole thing where we're running around here talking about being on code, that's Millie Fuller. All right? So even if somebody was to come behind you guys, I'm going to close on this, even if somebody was to come behind you guys and ADOS is not successful, but some young person that sees what's going on with ADOS America, and they looked at your work, and they took your work, and they built on it, there's nothing wrong with that, man. No. But at the end of the day, man, I hope after this show, you know, I hope you guys just get back to what y'all been doing best, and that's advocating. I really wanted to talk about Barack Obama, but I'm not going to hold up the line. I guess we're going to have plenty of time to dig into him. But keep doing what y'all doing. And listen, you got people that's online when you can't speak up for yourselves. There's people like me and others that's speaking up for you.
Thank
So
you,
just
fam.
keep doing the work. And
Thank you,
let
fam.
other people handle the dirt.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it, because I get tired of the dirt. I get tired of the mud. But let me just say this, and even if you read Neely Fuller in terms of being on code, you'll see that Tariq is off code. Like, I think if you go and read that, if you go and read Neely Fuller and you go and read about about being on code, you'll see that Tariq has been off code for a long time. So go check it out. But yeah, I think one of the points that the caller made was very interesting in the sense of this has always been bigger. If you think, see, the thing is when people try to attack me or whatever, it's bigger than Yvette and Tone. So if you're trying to attack me, you're gonna have a hard way to go because it's anchored in something far, far more deep, fundamental. Than you don't know enough if you think I'm just gonna go after Yvette and Antonio and say like and say they ain't got no money or whatever. Something you heard from boys, whatever. Like if you don't know more than that, then like you're gonna have a problem. And people have to stop just I always say I said last show like everything has a cost. Like you wanna watch Tariq and laugh. That's a cost. That's a cost of the community, especially when he's this far out of the box and this far off cold. Like he's desperate now. That's a problem. So anyway, I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 904. 904. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey there, it's Trey calling from Jacksonville, Florida. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fairly well.
Okay.
I hate lying and saying we're doing good because we're not.
Yeah, tell the truth, Shane the devil.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to hold in my thoughts here because it's so hard. As far as Tariq G goes, I mean, there's a lot of different things that he's going to actually speak for themselves. So everything that you guys do, the only thing that you say about him was the fact that he raised money for his documentaries and then he tried to hold them back to see. That's true. So, I mean, that kind of speaks for who he is as a person. I feel like after that, there's nothing else for us to say about him as far as whether or not we're for him. But as far as these petitions and Democratic candidates go, I just feel like if you don't believe in reparations and fighting for black people and you're a black person, you're a black candidate, why are you even in politics? Like, if you can't stand up for us, you need to get out of the way because you have a responsibility to us. And I think that's what has been lost, is the fact that AOS people feel like once they've made it or once they get into a position, especially a political position, they don't feel like they have a responsibility to the people. And you do. And I think that's, like how we have been brought up as AOS and has been kind of mixed up in how we need to be. We don't know as far as other people who were kind of brought up with the culture. They know that they have a responsibility to their people first.
But we used to, though. We used to understand that.
Yeah, and I just think we've gotten so far into the individualism that we don't realize that anymore. If you're in the spotlight, you're able to have a platform and your people are at the very bottom, that's your responsibility. You can't do anything else but speak up for your people until they're where they're supposed to be. And if you can't do that, you need to be canceled. You don't need to be in the spotlight. You do not. Why are you trying to take for some seat if you're not going to stand for your people? Why are you there? You're a waste of space. And I mean, it's like, it's just so much. It's so much that we need to be doing. But I think a lot of people are just taking advantage of us because they know that most of us, we don't have a political education. So
you hit on it, Carla. They're taking advantage of us because we don't have a political education. Woo, Fred Hampton told us.
Yeah. Yeah. They can speak to us about feelings all day, and they don't have to deliver us anything because they know we're emotional. So they're using that. But a lot of them is in a position, especially the in politics, a lot of them know the truth. And that's your responsibility to tell your people the truth if you're a preach.
And if you're not doing that, then what they say, oh, the celebrities or these rappers, whatever, they say that people say they're part of Illuminati or whatever, and they always want to say we're not a part of the Illuminati. But if you get into a position where you can't speak up for your people because it might cost you your check, or it might make these white people uncomfortable that's writing your check, then that's the same as being a part of a society. You can't say what you want. You can't get out of line. Otherwise, your livelihood is going to be cut off. That's part of being a part of a society. And I definitely think that, like you guys talk about the decadent veils and all of those things, I definitely do feel like, these people know that they have that power to unite us, and they just choose not to. And so then we have people, like you guys, that's grassroots, that, basically out here scrambling, but the attention, we give it to these people that these high places. We give that the majority of us give our attention to those types of people. And so those types of people have a responsibility to bring the masses together.
I hear you, caller. All right, caller, I appreciate it. And thank you, mods in the chat. Like, ooh, they be sending all they little people over here. Oh, I'm sorry, caller. But they be sending all they little people over here. But yeah, the responsibility. We don't like to talk about that. We don't want to talk about who has a responsibility to who. That's too much, right? Nobody wants to talk about that, right? So I'm probably gonna take one more call, because I said I was gonna get y'all out of here early. I don't want to lie, because I always say I'm gonna get out of here and I don't. So I'm gonna try. I'm going to 661. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette. This is T calling from LA, Southern California.
What's up?
I've been enjoying the show. and just wanted to kind of briefly touch on some of the things you talked about in this show as well as the last show about what our responsibility is as individuals. Now, I'll admit, when all of this stuff came and I heard it, I took a step back and I started evaluating the information that was coming at me. And then I asked myself some questions, just like you talked about the last episode, about how we have to ask ourselves critical questions so that we don't fall down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the thing that stuck out to me is that you all have been very, very, very consistent and very, very, very focused. And when I say you all, I say we, because we're all in the same gang. You've been very focused. And the times when I've seen you guys address issues that have come up, it's always been because somebody came out and tried to do or say something to derail or take or discredit you guys, or dismiss you guys, or demonize you guys. You see? So the challenge is that I don't think that, this is what I learned growing up, is that all you have to do is watch a person, what they're doing, and ask yourself questions about their track record and what they're asking of you right now. And can you criticize them? Can you ask them questions about what they're doing? If they immediately attack you as soon as you ask a question, you already know it's something to hide there. Something ain't right. So just keep on pushing. And that's what's really going on, because I was like, wow, you guys stopped addressing it, and then they kept pushing harder and harder and coming up with everything in the world to throw over here, and I'm like, wow, we still got to talk about this?
Yeah.
But the reason why is because they're trying to take advantage of one weapon that's been used against us for going on the last 80, 100 years, and that the fact that most people don't challenge themselves to be critical thinkers and ask themselves questions. One of the things I learned early on in my career of working is that I had to be a good detective. I couldn't take things at face value. I had to search out information to either support or disprove the theory. But something, unfortunately, I learned later in life is that I have to know exactly what I want first before I can start asking questions about what's going on around me.
Okay.
And I don't think people really spend a lot of time asking themselves, okay, if this is what I want, how does this other influence or information coming from somewhere else support or tear down that objective? And that's why it's been very easy for me to see what's going on with all these agents of chaos and this, that, and the other. Now, to keep it on point, when in the beginning of the show, when you talked about Barack Obama and Deval Patrick, I'll admit I was woefully ignorant in 2008 and 2012, and I was just along for the ride. But now when I look back and I start looking back based on the things that I've challenged myself to learn, I realize how it was very clear what was going on, but I just wasn't asking the right questions. And I would just say, Yvette, you do a great job of challenging us to think critically and also make us ask ourselves questions, not just take what you say at face value and run with it. So I appreciate you and Tone for that. And I'll admit, every time I listen to one of you guys' videos or check my Twitter feed and see you guys in it, I'm always challenging myself to learn something and ask myself questions, and don't just take your word for it, but make it make sense, as you say. So, having said all that, I really do appreciate what you do, and I'm here. I'm going to continue to be here, challenge myself to get better and uplift the community on a local level, you know, just here in my circle, and start there. So
absolutely, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And let me just say, and I want to say one thing, fam. Great call. I want to say one thing. Understand the difference between an agent provocateur and an agent of chaos. An agent provocateur is somebody kind of like, not always the case, but will get you in trouble, right? They'll say, let's throw Molotov cocktails, and you throw one, and they say, you throw one, I'm going to throw one, and you throw one, and they the agent, so they don't get arrested and you do. So they really kind of get you involved in some stuff you shouldn't be involved in, or incite violence in a way, you know, in a non-violent civil rights, like the civil rights movement. That's what agent provocateur. It can be other stuff that's an agent provocateur. Agent of chaos is somebody that just keeps you so distracted and fighting and doing all kind of wild stuff all the time that you can't really focus on the mission. You know how Tariq done had us over here talking about, oh, the name ADOS and the monies and, oh, well, they started a fight and it ain't them, they no found. You're an agent of chaos. You just throw your own poop at the wall or something. Like, that's an agent of chaos that you just keep us like scattered all the time, so we can't get together and figure out what we're doing and strategize. You just own Twitter all the time, and you're talking to people and you say stuff don't make sense. And somebody teach him what a straw man argument is. You're over here straw manning. That's the wrong. Everybody's not a straw man. Stop saying that. You got the whole definition all messed up. But I'm going to my last call. I'm going to 757. 757. What's going on? Hold on. What's going on here? Okay. 757. What's going on? What's going on?
Yvette.
What's up?
What's up, baby? I guess you got that answer to why we got to do it in public, huh? Sometimes you just get a group of knuckleheads.
Knuckleheads. All the time.
Look, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. We knew we had to go through this shakedown cruise. You got rid of a whole lot of imposters. You know, you did that Denmark testing. People got to remember.
Yep,
you gotta challenge them all the time. You gotta put them to work so you can weed out the drifters. Look, I want to pivot to this. We know now we got these knuckleheads behind us. We got to start thinking about HR 40 and what's that going to come out and look at.
Yeah.
We can get focused back on doing the work. But I got to shout out the Breaking Brown family, all of y'all out there for becoming worthy warriors. You've been doing the work. I watch y'all on Twitter. I watch the maturity. I'm really proud of y'all being the sage old boomer, that dumbass that my man Doe was talking about. I'm loving this progression, and I think we'd be ready for these people in 2020.
Yeah, we getting it. We getting there.
I think they have to take us real. We made some changes. We made people change protocols and formats. They don't take open questions at forums. People that got out front, what I call the placeholders, all of them are rolling out, stumbling just like Deval Patrick. They can't get it together because this reparations thing is on them. We've been doing the work. We're going to win this thing. Much love to you, sister.
Thank you, as always, Otis, Uncle Otis. Appreciate it, as always. I always appreciate the call from Otis. I appreciate that. And thank you, everybody. Didn't get to all the calls as always, but I promised a shorter show before midnight, and we're 18 minutes beforehand, and I want to stick to my word tonight. So, fam, we will talk again. I'm considering a quick hit, but I'm not going to tell you when. But anyway, fam, please, please, please finish your libations. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Do not let these people get to you. They are agents of chaos. Say what you got to say and just get offline. Like, that's what I say. Say what you got to say and get offline. You will fight with these knuckleheads all day. If you got to block them, block them. Everybody says, Antonio blocks too quick. And sometimes, Yvette, you block too quick. Well, it is what it is. These people, it's too much. So make sure you maintain, because we got to go. Like, I'm so tired of fighting other black people. You know, you get up every day and you try to do work and lift weight and do intellectual exercise and be ready for white supremacy. And every day you walk outside and it's another Negro throwing a can at your head. I'm tired of you. Can you get out of the way so we can fight the real battle? What are you doing with that can? Stop it. So anyway, fam, until next time, please, 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 before you go, though, please like. If you don't do anything else, hit the like button. It's free of charge to you. If you want to donate, go to donatebrown.com. You can do that. You can go to ADOSmerch.com and buy a shirt. I'm gonna get some hoodies soon. I know people are like, it's cold and short sleeve shirts and hoodies, long sleeve shirts. So I'm gonna do that. Also, if you are so inclined, you can go to patreon.com /ycarnell. Any of that stuff to you. It's also free to go to subscribetobrown.com. That's TO, subscribetobrown.com, and add your name to my mailing list if you have not done that. And it's free to hit that bell so you get notifications. And hit the subscribe button. That's free too. So much free stuff you can do to support. So anyway, fam, until next time, please be easy. Please don't get upset. Don't let it get to you. These people are kind of thrown off. And we'll talk again sometime soon.